Hello, how are you? Amanda, SEINT artist. Let's do an eyeshadow look. We're just doing eyes today. We are gonna do a fall look because as far as I'm concerned, once Labor Day's done, it's fall. I've already started putting some fall stuff out. I have a pumpkin candle on my pumpkin warmer, and I am going to prep my lids with my Singen's Shadow Sense in the color Candlelight. I'm gonna take my BK Beauty 203 brush, and we're just gonna press this out to give our lids some balance. We're just gonna pop this on, bring it around. We're gonna make this a nice, simple, everyday fall look with colors that are some old favorites. And these are my ride or dies. These are the ones that once fall hits, I'm grabbing these every single time. But do get yourself a good primer, because if you're needing your makeup to last all day, you need a good primer. And so far, everything I've tried, Too Faced, I can't even remember, MAC, using your cream correctors or your cream highlights, whatever you're using, I have found this one works all day and through the night, because I have had to sleep in my makeup before. Who hasn't, really? Who hasn't had to sleep in their makeup? Come on. All right, so let's find a brush that's still available, because one of my favorites went away. I'm really upset. Let's do a smudge brush. It's been a while since I've done a smudge brush, and it's good, and I haven't talked about it in a good long time. So this is a great dense brush. This is really good for mature eyes. So if you have a lot of loose skin, this is great because it is a bit larger, but it's dense, so patting is best, and patting is easier with a denser brush. Okay, first color I'm gonna go into, because it's fall, is Pup, and I like it this much. That puppy's almost gone. I'm gonna use the big wide end. Then they have a nice round, but both ends are dense. We're gonna go in on the wide end. We're gonna go into Pup, and I'm gonna press this all over my lid. And this just gives me a good, it's a Bob Ross of lids, okay? Bob Ross always liked to coat his canvas with a fresh coat of extra white paint, and then he would go in and paint, because the paints blended better with paint. Shadows, powders will blend better with powders. I'm gonna go, this is what's left of our poor little eyeshadow collection too, guys. All right, those are my mattes. Here are my shimmers. And then back here, pressed pigments. But we're not gonna use those today. We're gonna use some classics. Classics that may be in your palette, because I do like to use what's in our palette. I'm gonna go into Rome. Rome is a shimmer a lot like Drift. It's a bit more cool toned and a little bit deeper. Love it for fall. Fall just gives you those cozy colors. And I think, I mean, honestly, Drift, Rome, Sabrina, I can't believe they kept all three. They're so close that I just don't feel like we needed three, but you know what? Not my company, not my business. Okay, popping some shimmer up on this brow bone. It just adds a little bit of lift. It's one of those little things that you don't need, but you need like almost everything, like makeup. Okay, now we're gonna get into the colors. And the first color I'm gonna go into is Zion. And a lot of people may get scared of an orange color, but I'm telling you, if you live in the comfort zone of browns, it's time. It's time to just give something a little try. We're gonna use the wide end, and we're gonna lightly tap, flick off, and we're gonna put this up here on all this real estate. And we're just going to press this around. This is gonna give us that little pumpkin spice warmth. I got my first pumpkin pie white mocha, so I didn't have that bitterness of the dark brown chocolate in my coffee. Got white chocolate. It was almost like whipped cream on a pumpkin pie. It was very good. I don't like pumpkin spice, but if I put white chocolate in it, I can tolerate it a bit more. I usually only have one pumpkin coffee a year, and it's usually the day after Labor Day. And then I move on and I wait for peppermint to come out. I like myself just a regular old white mocha. It's who I am. All right, so we just popped this orange color, and you want to build this up until you're happy. And you just use when you're using a dense brush, a light touch works just as good as a fluffy brush. And then just working it upward and outward, because you want it to have a slow burn, a slow fade up into that brow bone, and just let that sit, and that adds that warmth. And using this transition, having a transition color, if you have any amount of hooding, I don't have hooding from the front, but from the side I do. So adding a transitional color on the outside of whatever you're doing is gonna help hide that hood. Okay, it's gonna give you that lift, and you've got real estate up here. Use it, because once you open your eyes, if you have any kind of hood, it all just disappears in that crease. So live above the crease. We're just gonna push this on and up and out, and just a light touch. And then we're gonna go in to Philly. Philly's my favorite brown. I like it better than Cocoa because it picks up a little bit better, but it's the same dang color. It just, again, picks up a little better. If you're wanting a good dark brown shadow, or I'm sorry, liner, get Philly because it's darker and it, again, picks up better than cocoa. So you can have a nice brown shadow. We're going to do that today, but then you can also get it wet. It deepens it and transfers on really well. We're going to switch to the round end. I'm going to tap in, tap lightly, okay? Because this picks up really good. All right, and we're going to put this on the outer part of the lid, and then we're going to work it with little outward flicks, but more pressing and tapping outward and onto that brow bone. So again, when you open your eyes, it doesn't get lost in the crease. And then I push into the crease and onto that base of that brow bone, and I bring it over. Finding your placement's key. This is how I always like my placements, is I want a deeper color on the outer lid that works out past the outer corner and then up onto this brow bone. And then we're going to go down here. Always do your eyeshadow first because you can get all kinds of out of hand, and then you can correct it when you're doing your makeup. So again, outer corner, working it and stamping it outward. If you have mature lids, stamping is key, okay? And then pushing it up, over, onto the base of that brow bone, and again, tapping, tapping. If you have mature eyes, hooded eyes, you want this lid to be light because it's going to make them look more open. And if you have mature eyes, it's going to give them a more youthful look. Rather than deepening and sinking and darkening your eye, you want to have that lid have a little bit of lightness. All right, so just bringing that outward and upward, and that's it. Easy, everyday look. Okay, I like me some shimmer on my lid. It just adds a little bit of brightness that I feel good about, but I'm gonna use that same color I put on my lid. I'm gonna go back into Rome, because it's a little bit deeper, and I'm gonna press this onto my lid. And it lightens things up, but this is a nice everyday, go to work, work around your house, whatever it is you're doing, this is a good look. All right, now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna grab that Philly again, and I'm gonna grab an angle brush. I'm gonna use one that's not SEINT because I have brushes everywhere. This here is a BK Beauty 208. It's a tiniest little angle. And then I'm also gonna grab, that's not the right one, I have a couple. Maybelline Tattoo Studio. This one is a really great smudging liner. It will set, so I'm just gonna waterline up here. Waterlining up here, and we're gonna push this outward and upward here. Same over here. I like to look down. It makes waterlining easy. If waterlining isn't for you, skip it. So again, pushing up into this outer part of the lashes. And then we're gonna go into this angle brush. I'm gonna grab a setting spray. I'm just gonna use Thank Me Later. It's on Amazon, it's affordable. It's a really good one. We're gonna spray this brush and get it just a little bit damp. Setting sprays tend to dry quickly, so we're gonna move a little quickly. I'm gonna grab just a little palette here. And again, I'm gonna go into Philly, and we're gonna do a dark brown liner. So we just grab and drag, and it's a little bit wet, so it really grabs it. And then we're gonna go in and we're going to make ourselves a nice dark brown, warm and cozy liner. And using setting spray as a way to wet your brush and get in, excuse me, to my liner is gonna also be setting this powder on my eye. And I'm just gonna give it a little flick, lick my finger, and I'm just gonna sharpen and pull it into this cute little wing. I'm gonna take what's left on the brush and I'm gonna work on the inner part of my lid, but I'm not gonna line my middle lid, and that's because I want my eyes to look more open. So again, we're gonna we did that waterline, we're gonna grab that liner and we're just gonna smudge out this Philly with that black liner. But Philly wet is just good and deep, and so you can get almost 3 colors out of every single shadow when you can use your finger, you could use a brush, and then you can get the brush wet and it gives you a lot of shades. I've used eyeshadows before and I was able to get one look, or a look with multiple shades out of one eyeshadow, and it's so good. Okay, that's it. I've just added the littlest chocolate wing. I need to pop it back in. And then we're gonna get our mascara. So I use FanFest by, is it Benefit? Yes, Benefit. This stuff is so good. It's really great if you like volume on your lashes. And we're gonna get into the nitty gritty of my of my eyelashes because there's a purpose. There's a reason for my madness, and it is about building volume at the base. So you're gonna take this brush, it has a little angle. I love the bristles and the thickness of the product in the tube. And we are gonna wedge this at the base of my lashes, give it a wiggle, get those lashes in the bristles, and then lift. And we're just gonna do this 4 times just to give you an idea. So that's 2, that's 3, and 4. Look at the difference that just made. Just 4, but then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna keep layering. And what you wanna do is you're just building product at the base on top of product. And I like to wiggle my lashes into the bristles, but making sure I'm not creating clumping. I'm letting it gradually thin as I go up the lash, and it pops off about halfway up because I do have a pretty natural curl. I don't do lash curlers, they break the heck out of my fine lashes. So for me, I like to waterline and then add a good base mascara, and it gives the illusion of liner going all the way across. We're gonna go and reload, swirl it, pull it, and then we're gonna go down and out, down and out. And this just builds product on top of those lashes. And then we're just gonna give everything a nice little combing, a nice little coating, go up and down. You could just build, but you want to avoid clumping. Then we're gonna go right here and we're just gonna hit some of these lashes. We're not really trying to load volume here, just adding a, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna go put the rest on so you don't have to sit through all of it, but you wanna follow this mascara method. If you have a good favorite thick mascara, that's your method. Okay, I'm gonna go get the other side done and get the rest of my makeup on, and I'll be right back. Rest of my makeup's on. I got it all done. This is your fall look. I used rosewood on my cheeks. I've got Frenchie on my lips because I also used it with my rosewood. And then Zion just adds that fall warmth to any look. And then Philly is always a win. So if you're looking for your good fall staples, get your Philly back out or go buy it and go get Zion. It's so, so good for getting into your fall season. So message me if you have any questions. Let's talk about makeup and have a great day.